I wondered if this was the last time I would feel the freedom of the high mountains. As a child, I had never conceived of leaving this place. I had always felt that I belonged to the meadows, as do the flowers, the clouds, the brilliant stars above our fires. Every night I held my children close to me. At any moment, I might be taken away from them.
Tibet has always been, in the eyes of the world, a legendary kingdom of peace and tranquility. Their creed, one of tolerance, respect for the individual, love of animals and nature, belief in the spiritual equality of all human beings.
Even now, as I close my eyes, I can recall my first memory. Laughing, spinning, and falling in fields of flowers beneath an endless open sky. The Tibetans in our region of Kham were nomads and semi-nomadic farmers. We carried on our lives without giving much thought to foreign authority. We who lived in Kham were undeniably Tibetan, and we lived as Tibetans live. But the Chinese looked upon Tibet as a land they wished fully to possess.
In the Chinese provinces bordering Tibet, the communists had begun to impose the dreaded commune system, with its slave labor, breakup of families, economic hardships, repression of religious worship. It seemed only a matter of time before the communists imposed the cruel system in Tibet.
They are enclosing the space in Tibet that the nomads had previously occupied with their herds. And they are using the grazing land, the traditional grazing land, for mining operations. And so they are moving the nomads off of these traditional grazing lands and giving them little garden tracts, areas, tiny areas. So their way of living has been taken away from them.
These are films of the Dalai Lama taken in less troubled times. News now reaches the world that 20,000 Tibetans have risen with him against their Chinese overlords.
I was very young at that point in time. How I played my part is I helped block the roads. We blocked the Chinese advancement. The struggle or the fight is not represented just by the male. Whoever feels that they need to fight, irrespective of gender, they should fight. I formed a small underground group of Tibetan women. We met at night, always covering the windows of our meeting places and posting guards. We spoke in hushed voices as we listened for the police who might be passing in the street. We took supplies and information to the resistance fighters. When I was arrested, I had a son and a daughter. The police were beating my son and my hands and legs were all tied. I resisted by refusing to move. When I was in jail, I was very much tired. I was tied, I was tortured, and I was hanged. I was very much emotionless, and there's not much I can express about what I was.
Physical survival, the ability to make it through hardship, physically, is bolstered by this will to say to yourself, I'm going to survive to tell the truth about what has happened to my people.
When I was released from jail, there was nothing I could recognize. All the trees had been cut down. All the monasteries had been destroyed. I only saw giant Chinese buildings, and I was very sad, Basically, the whole geography was changed. As soon as I stepped out, I couldn't recognize anything at all. I'm physically very weak because of the torture I've gone through. I have made some tours around the world educating people about what's happening in Tibet. I'm trying to propagate the cause of Tibet through truth.
She has a resolve and a joy in her testimony that is simply irrepressible. It is kind of a steel resolve that I have arrived in exile. I'm going to tell my story, and I'm going to tell my story with joy, and I'm going to tell my story with clarity, and I'm going to tell my story with strength.
Now I'm 85. I'm sure in my heart that I will return to a free Tibet along with His Holiness. Tibet's cause has the truth, and the truth will triumph in the end, and the world will support us.